Hi, in this video we're going to take a look at MixBot. We've had a few emails about what MixBot is and how it works, and although it's not super complicated, it's probably easier to explain it in a video than it would be in an email. So let's take a look at it. We're looking at a race from yesterday at Delaware Park, and MixBot is the stuff that shows up in the handicapping overview section down here, and it's labeled MixBot. If you don't have the handicapping overview section on your bird dog screen, you can click on options and then check the box down here for handicapping overview, and it'll appear on your screen. Now what MixBot does, it goes out and looks at a bunch of similar races to the one you're handicapping. So again, this is an 8.3 furlong turf allowance race at Delaware Park. So it goes out and finds recent races like that and breaks them down into categories based on what the winner paid in those kinds of races. So here you have this section that says $0 to $6 winner, and as you can see here on those, it gives you the date of the race and what the winner paid. So these were all pretty heavy favorites, paid $5.20, $4.20, and $3.80. Down here you get the 6 to 10 range, and that's kind of a medium price favorite. Paid $9, $6.20, $9.40, and then the $10 to $20 range, and then the long shot range if there are any. And here we're showing just one, but that's probably because I have my statistics set to 20 races. If I were to change that, and I'll click on 40 races, so now it'll consider the 40 most recent races rather than just the 20 most recent races, and it should come back and probably fill in a couple of more spots on that long shot section. Let's see if it did. Yeah, it did. It went out and found a couple of more. A $33 horse, 83, and 24. So as you change these options here on how many races you want to use to build this data, you'll get a different number of results. If you're only looking at 10 races, then you might not find any long shots there. But so if we're looking at 40, and if I click on this races tab, it shows me the 40 most recent races like this. The most recent being on September 7th, and then the oldest would go all the way back to June of 2013. So this most recent race that paid $5.20 on September 7th, we would see that over here in this $0 to $6 winner range, September 7th, $5.20. Now what MixBot does, it goes out and it'll open up this, well, it's not actually opening up, but the computer would go out, pull the data for that race on September 7th, and then run MixMaker on that race to see if it would have been able to, or how the computer would have weighted the factors to get the winner on top. Then it would come back to the current race you're looking at and apply that mix. And so it goes out and does that potentially 12 times, because you have 3 races in this range, 3 in this range, and so that's a total of 12 races that it's going to go out and handicap. And what you want to, what it's doing there, what the benefit of this is it gives you some idea of how consistent MixMaker is at predicting a winner. So in this particular case, when you look at this, no matter how you look at it, you're going to see the 3 and the 4 and a bunch, the 3 and the 4 and the low priced favorite type races, the 3 and the 4 and the medium price favorites, the 6 to 10 range. And then when you look in that 10 to 20 range, you see the 3 and the 4 again, and now you've got the 9 here, and then the 3 and the 4 again in these super long shot races, and the 2 pops in here. So if you were to consider just the MixBots as your way of handicapping this race, now you can see here that all of these different things are checked. Top 10, overall rankings, hit the board, all these different factor groups, the score, the bird dog, all that stuff all of them are checked, which means that all of them will be used to come up with the overall rankings here at the bottom. So it says the 4's on top, and then the 5's the least likely to win. And if you come over to the top of the handicapping overview, you can uncheck all of those, and you can say, you know what, I only want to look at the MixBot stuff. So I can click a section individually, which would just be the favorites, or I can click the entire section by clicking on that box right there. So now I'm, none of these up here are checked, and only the MixBot stuff is checked. So this is the consensus at the bottom, only looking at the MixBot stuff. So when you look at just the MixBot stuff, you get the 4 on top and the 3 in second, excuse me. And that's obvious because you see the 3 and the 4 in almost every one of the first positions here. And we know from, well, the 4 ended up winning this race. So what's the value of this really is to let you know how consistent certain factors are based on previously run races. And if you handicapped all those previous races and then applied those mixes to the current race you're looking at, would you get some kind of a consistent look at who's going to do well today? And in this race, it is pretty consistently the 4 and the 3. No matter how you slice it, whether you're looking at races won by favorites or long shots, you still get the 4 and the 3 up there near the top in almost every one of them. Now you'll find some races where it's very inconsistent. You might find that it's very consistent on these top 2, which is good. If you all the races that were won by favorites, no matter how you handicap it, it may end up with a certain horse on top, and then in the higher price races it would be a different horse. So when you handicap the race, using an angle or mix your own mix, or the scoring system, or however you do it in Betmix, you come back and you find your horse here. If your horse is currently 15 to 1, would be a kind of horse that would show up down here in the 20 plus range. You might want to see if it has the kind of a profile that a previous long shot winner had. But this is a tool that saves you a lot of time. If you can do this on your own, you can go out. You could come over here to the back to the races tab, and you can go out to September 7th. Click on this race. If you click on any of these races here, they'll open up in Bird Dog, and then you can go out and create a mix for them on your own and save that mix and come over here and apply it. Now if you did that 12 times, that you would be spending a lot of time handicapping the races. So that's kind of why we built MixBot. It does all of that work for you. So if I came over here to this race, and well, this turned out to be a bad one to pick because there's only 4 horses in it, but I came down here and I clicked Run Mix Maker. It would create this mix, and you can see down here that it's when I click it, it's putting weight on these different factors in different areas. And if you wanted to save that mix, come back over here and apply it, you'd essentially be getting the same things as you're seeing right here in MixBot. So this probably saves you 30 to 45 minutes unless you're pretty fast at that. So that's what MixBot does. It gives you a really quick way to analyze previous races using MixMaker, and shows you the results of that in one handy little screen right here. And what you're hoping to see here is some kind of consistency. You're ideally you're seeing the 5 is not liked very well in any one of those mixes, and then if you looked at today's results, where would the 5 be? The 5 finished last. So you're kind of hoping to see something that really points towards the likely winners and the unlikely winners, and that would help you decide which horses that you had handicapped. Maybe if you're going to use this as your only method, there's some subtleties there that you can kind of learn by looking at MixMaker. But it's a handy tool, and in a big time saver, really, is what it is in terms of using MixBot instead of going to create the mixes on your own and saving them and applying them and doing that work over and over again. So I hope that I'll send this out to the few people that asked that question, and for everybody else, I hope you find it helpful. Thanks.